Did you know feral hogs are tearing through America's farms and backyards, costing billions and spreading faster than ever? These tough, smart invaders can destroy a field overnight and outsmart traps with ease. Stick around to learn how they're impacting your food, land, and wallet, and what you can do about it. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel where we dive into real-world outdoor and wildlife issues that affect everyday folks like you and me. Today, we're tackling a topic that's been making headlines: more and more feral hogs in the United States. These aren't your typical farm pigs. They're tough, wild descendants of domestic swine that escaped long ago and mixed with Eurasian wild boars introduced for hunting. Over the decades, they've exploded across the landscape, turning into one of the most problematic invasive species out there. If you've got land, whether it's a small backyard plot or a sprawling ranch, you might have encountered them or heard the stories from neighbors. They're now present in at least 35 states, from the deep south like Texas and Florida up to the Midwest and even parts of the Pacific Northwest, with populations pushing northward each year due to mild winters and abundant food sources. Let's break down why this is such a big deal, starting with the numbers. Recent estimates put the total feral hog population in the U.S. at over 6 million, and some sources suggest it could be as high as 9 million when accounting for underreported areas. Texas alone hosts around 3 million of them, making it ground zero for the issue. But states like Oklahoma, Louisiana, and Georgia aren't far behind with hundreds of thousands each. These hogs aren't staying put. They're expanding their range by about 2% annually, invading new watersheds and habitats. Now, on to the damage they cause, and trust me, it's not small potatoes. The economic hit to agriculture is staggering, with the USDA's Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service estimating annual costs at around $2.5 billion just for the farming sector alone. That includes direct losses from destroyed crops, plus expenses for repairs and control measures. Picture this: a sounder, that's what a group of hogs is called, can roll through a cornfield in a single night, uprooting stalks, chomping on ears, and leaving the soil churned up like a plowed field gone wrong. Soybeans, wheat, rice, peanuts, and even specialty crops like melons or berries aren't spared. They've been documented wiping out entire harvests in places like Arkansas and Mississippi. Beyond eating, their rooting behavior digs deep holes that erode soil, clog drainage ditches, and damage equipment. Tractors can get stuck or break axles in those pits. Ranchers face their own headaches too, as hogs tear up pastures meant for cattle or sheep, contaminate water troughs with mud and feces, and compete for forage, leading to thinner livestock and higher feed bills. But it's not just farms taking the hit. The environmental impact is equally concerning. Feral hogs disrupt native ecosystems by outcompeting wildlife for resources. Think deer, turkeys, or ground-nesting birds, losing acorns, roots, and insects to these voracious eaters. In sensitive areas like wetlands or riverbanks, their wallowing creates erosion that silts up streams, harming fish populations and water quality. One of the scariest aspects is how quickly their numbers grow. A mature sow can breed starting at just 6 months old and produce 2 litters per year, each with 6 to 12 piglets on average. Though litters of up to 14 aren't unheard of in prime conditions with plenty of food and cover. Survival rates for piglets are high too, often over 50%. Thanks to the sow's protective nature and the hog's general hardiness, they can thrive in temperatures from freezing to scorching, as long as there's water nearby. This exponential growth means that even if you remove a bunch from your property, Survivors or migrants from nearby areas can repopulate fast. In regions like the Southeast, where forests provide perfect hiding spots, populations have doubled in under 5 years despite ongoing efforts. It's a cycle that keeps landowners on their toes, constantly monitoring for fresh tracks, rubs on trees, or those telltale rootings that signal an infestation is building. These animals are no dummies either. Their intelligence makes control even trickier. Feral hogs learn from experience. If a trap doesn't work once, they'll avoid similar setups, or if they associate humans with danger, they'll switch to nocturnal activity to dodge detection. They've been observed crossing highways at night, swimming lakes to reach new islands, or even burrowing under fences designed to keep them out. So, what's being done about it? And how can you get involved if this affects you? Hunting is still a frontline tool in many states. It's open season year-round with no bag limits to encourage participation. Methods vary. Ground hunting with rifles or bows for those who enjoy the chase. Night hunts using thermal scopes to spot them in the dark. Or even helicopter-based aerial gunning in open terrains like Texas plains, where pros can remove dozens in a single outing. But experts agree that hunting alone isn't enough. It might knock down 20 to 30% of a population annually. But with that breeding rate, you need at least 70% removal to see declines. Beyond that, integrated pest management is key, combining multiple approaches for better results. Fencing can protect high-value spots, but it needs to be sturdy. Think woven wire buried underground to prevent digging under. Some areas use exclusion zones with electric fences or double barriers. Research into fertility control is promising too. The USDA is testing oral contraceptives or vaccines that can sterilize hogs without lethal means, though it's not widely available yet and faces hurdles like delivery methods. Drones are entering the mix for scouting large areas, spotting sounders from above to guide trappers or hunters. On the policy front, federal programs like the National Feral Swine Damage Management Program provide funding and resources, helping states coordinate efforts and curb spread. In 2025, with populations still rising, there's talk of increased budgets for these initiatives, especially as hogs push into new states like Oregon or Michigan, where early detection is crucial. Education and community involvement make a huge difference. Local workshops from Extension services teach how to identify early signs, like fresh scat or trails, so you can act before damage escalates. Apps and online maps let you report sightings, building data for broader strategies. If you're a hunter, joining organized feral hog hunts not only helps control, but can provide meat properly cooked. It's lean and tasty, similar to wild game. Looking ahead without stepped-up action, the problem could worsen, with projections showing hogs in even more watersheds by the end of the decade, amplifying damage to biodiversity, water resources, and food security. Higher crop losses mean potential price hikes at the grocery store, affecting us all. But there's hope. Successful programs in places like Missouri have stabilized or reduced local populations through consistent, multi-method approaches. If you're dealing with this, start small. Assess your land, set up trail camps, and connect with local wildlife agencies for advice tailored to your area. What do you think? Have feral hogs shown up where you live? Or do you have a go-to method for keeping them at bay? Share in the comments. Your experiences could help others. If this video opened your eyes to the issue, give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more practical outdoor insights, and hit the bell so you don't miss updates on topics like this. Thanks for tuning in. Stay safe out there and keep your land thriving.